Hey, good afternoon, everyone in preeminent. Okay, now it's been some time since I met all of you, and I wish I had the opportunity to meet you all in person, but definitely that is not possible now. So we have to meet via video conferencing like Zoom now. And thanks to Celine and Gavin Lim, all the DDs for helping us to get us together today. Okay, I think very short notice, Celine was able to arrange our meetup today. Now, I'm going to share a little bit on the law, but more on a lot of general things, tips to keep you occupied now that you're going to be on an extended CB for yourself, because you're considered non-essential services. Okay, right. Now, just to let you know, our law firm, which is Subra TT Law LLC. I'm Mr. Subra, you know, okay. I heard from Celine that there are 2,000 over of you in preeminent. So I think not all of you will know me, but I think many of you would know me, right? Okay, now we have had approval from the ministry to operate from our office right from the start. Okay, because we applied under essential services and they recognized our company as being one of the leading conveyancing and property law practitioners. So they have made an exception to law firms. Not all law firms can be open during the period. Not all law firms are allowed to be present in the office to have a staff strength. So many of them are working from home, office all closed. So ours, we managed to convince the ministry that we are essential services provider because we prepare a lot of, we do a lot of conveyancing work, and also that we have completions to take care of. If not, there will be consequences. And also that we prepare a lot of wills, we estate private clients on setting up of private trust, declaration of trust, decoupling, etc. So we do the whole works, and they gave us permission right from the start. So just to let you know that we have permission to be in the office, to operate from the office. So I have this to share with you, that, okay, these are all the things that I will highlight to you. Look at this. You need a conveyancing lawyer during even extended beyond the circuit breaker period. We are recognized as an essential services provider by the ministry, and we have staff in the office, okay, enough to operate the rest of us telecommute. In fact, recently they increased our numbers by almost double to be in the office. So that is good news for you, right? Okay, now coming back to this, right now. So yourself, you are not considered essential services provider. And if you look at the CEA's advisory, you know, CEA has got an advisory in the CEA's website on how you should go about doing work now. They're telling you that there should not be physical movement. No physical movement. Remember this, huh? And they made it very clear, even if it's completion or handing over, they have said no physical movement. But they have actually said, like, if there are some important documents to sign, or if you have got, it's really very urgent that you need to see them, you can see them in the office for a short while. They made some small exceptions there, which are also not terribly very clear, you know, like what is really urgent and in an emergency situation. But I think there's some discretion there. But, you know, do you also remember seeing this word there? They say you can try your best to use digital signatures wherever possible. Okay, I'm sure you all have read. They say use digital signatures. But I want to tell you one thing. Digital signatures are prohibited. Digital signatures are prohibited in many areas, because if you look at what I've prepared here for you now, look at this. Electronic Transactions Act. There's this act called Electronic Transactions Act. Okay, don't read first, just listen to my explanation. It actually recognizes electronic signature, right? Gives effect to it, but especially with the idea of developing electronic commerce, because electronic commerce will need a lot of digital signatures. So particularly that, and they have gone on, they are actually saying that there's no definition, there's no real meaning of electronic signature. Okay, they have not said what is electronic, what is the meaning of signatures, but they have said digital signatures are considered as electronic signature. So the Electronic Transactions Act will apply to digital signatures. You all are with me, yeah? Okay, now, CEA has mentioned use digital signatures as much as you can, but then under the Act, there are restrictions on the use of digital signatures because the Act does not apply to, number one, sale and purchase agreements, transfer or disposition of property or shares in a property, like when you want to do a transfer, or if there's sale and purchase of properties. Disposition of properties means you are disposing. How do you dispose of property? You sell it lah, okay? Sale and purchase, transfer, you want to pass title. That digital signature is not recognized. Number two, wills. If somebody wants to make a will now, I cannot say, okay, I'm on Zoom now, I'm watching you sign, I bring it down from the face down to the signature column where they will sign and I accept it. No way, because the Act says no. Because will is a very serious matter, correct? Because you're giving your property, you're appointing a trustee, someone you trust, and you're making provisions for your next of kin when you're gone. So that's really something that's very, very serious. Okay, will making, huh? And then we have got power of attorney. Power of attorney also, you cannot use digital signatures. So that means to say, for sale and purchase agreements, transfer of property, wills, power of attorney, we have to use wet ink signature. Now, the same thing also, HDB has also made it very clear that they are not going to recognize digital signatures, only wet ink signatures, okay? So all of you must remember these fundamentals. But when it comes to, let's say, tenancy agreements, because it is, you are not disposing of your shares, right? When you rent out, you are still the legal owner, you're still the beneficial owner, okay? But tenants have rights in the property. Tenants have a right in the property. That is why you cannot go into your own house, which is rented out, at any time, just open and get inside. That's why they have this notice period, because they have rights. They have rights to exclude you from the property. You're not supposed to be there. Okay, right. So all these transactions, you actually cannot use digital signatures. That means it must be wet ink signature. So in the case of a BUC transaction, we all know it starts with you paying your booking fee of 5%. Okay, your booking fee, you pay 5%, and then the developer will give you the option to purchase. Now, before that, since I'm talking about BUC, I want to ask you all a very, very interesting question now. Booking fee has always been 5%. Do you know why? Is there any reason for it being 5%? Who chooses this number? Is there a choice? Is there a choice? Right? Is there a choice? Let me first address this. Everywhere you see booking fee is 5%. But do you know what the Act says? The Housing Development Act says booking fee cannot be less than 5%. Remember, cannot be less than 5%. And it cannot be more than 10%. That means to say it can be between 5 to 10%. Okay? It can be between 5 to 10%. And why is 5% chosen? Very simple. Developers want to have maximum sales within the shortest period of time. They want to achieve a high sale rate because, you know, the herd mentality, when the take-up rate for a particular project is very high, what signal do you send to people? You send the signal to people that this is a good property to buy. That's why a lot of people are buying, and the herd mentality will take effect. So remember, can be between 5 to 10%, but 5% is chosen because we want to attract more buyers to buy the project in the development. And so we have the minimum 5% here. Okay, cannot be less than 5, cannot be more than 10. So this is the law that I've explained to you. Because, you know, a foreigner client can come and ask you, I realized that the booking fee is 5%. Why is it 5%? And then what do you say? Developer says 5%. Yeah. And everywhere in the whole, all over Singapore, it's 5%. Yeah, 5%. Yeah, just pay 5%. You say, sir, it cannot be less than 5. It can't be more than 10. 5 is chosen because a lot of people will be, you know, they can afford. The outlay, financial outlay is lesser. So it'll attract more people to buy. And we also need more people to buy so that the project is seen in a good light, that, you know, they will see prospects. Okay, so that's one, right? Now, very simple. How can the payment be made? Today, we all know payments can be made electronically through bank transfer or whatever. Okay, then the OTP, no problem. Developer signs, wedding signature. They send it to the buyer or to you, right? And then you can send it by courier, arrange for delivery. So no physical movement. You can send it by arranged courier, or you can get it and arrange to be delivered to them. So once they've got it, they will then just sign. They can send it back to the developer, which will be accepted, right? They will send it back to the developer, or they send it to you and then you become postman. No problem with that, right? You can send it to the developer. Then after that, you know, the usual timings will run. The developer will prepare the sale and purchase agreement. By the time we'll be in the picture already, we'll already be in the picture, because you would have notified that we are the lawyers. So whenever we receive emails from all of you, if you refer a matter to us, we'll quickly call the client, and one of the first things that we'll say is, thank you very much. So and so is your agent. He has recommended that we represent you in the purchase, and we've got the OTP already. Can I just check if you have received the sale and purchase agreement? We'll ask. Most of the time they will answer by saying, no, we have not received. So very good. We will be writing to the developer and asking them to send it to us, to the law firm. Okay. And then we will call you to come and sign on the sale and purchase agreement. Okay. Which is to be then sent back within the time, 3 weeks, right? Okay. We will send it back. So exercise has taken place. Then after that, it's just the normal procedure. We will see your clients in the office, because, you know, we'll either advise them through Zoom, or we can have them coming over to our office. We have seen clients coming to our office. We've seen bankers coming with the LO to our office. So we have facilitated all that, and essential services. No worries at all. It's all done. So nothing very difficult or technical about how you should go about working like without physical movement. Okay, now the question is this: why am I focusing on BUCs, building under construction, and not the resale market so much? Let's look at the nature of the property, the contract, etc. Okay, let's start with the nature of the property. You take a resale property. Will you buy a resale property without seeing? Let's say you're a customer, you're a client. Yeah? Your agent sends some very impressive looking videos and all that of the entire house. Looks nice. Would you want to commit? Will you be very daring enough to just commit to the purchase? Chances are very, very slim. But if you had viewed the property before a couple of times, it was just one or two things that you had to settle before making the decision, it's easier. Or it was just the price and the seller has adjusted, it becomes so much more straightforward. You can commit already. But new transactions, sale and purchase, is going to be a bit tough. So why? Because when you take a resale property, you want to be physically in the property, because that is the house that you want to buy. And you need to feel the vibes. You know, when you walk into, very often when you walk into 2 or 3 houses, sometimes the clients will say, you know what, I actually felt good when I was in the first house, you know, but not the second or third. Why do you say that? Because there are vibes. You know, a property has got life, you know, it's got life. There are furnishings and everything, the color scheme. It's to be appreciated. So there are vibes, they can feel it. So they need to feel the vibe. 2, what if there are defects? What if there are like some leakages or something that needs repair, rectification works? You will not know with just a nice, impressive video that is sent to you. You will not know that. You got to be on the ground. And even on the ground, you will have difficulty telling if there's a leak. Agree? Of course, you'll have difficulty. There will be challenges, but you need to be present. Okay, because if there is some leakage, okay, then you know there's the law society's conditions of sale. In every sale and purchase contract, there will be the law society's conditions of sale, 1999 or 2012, you can choose whichever you want to use. Right? 1999 is usually used by sellers because it favors the sellers. It supports the sellers. 2012 is used by buyers because it favors the buyers more. So coming back to this point, if there is some leakage, then what will I tell the seller? Hey, seller, can you rectify this 2 weeks before completion and give me the right to come and inspect? So before completion, it'll be rectified. I want to make sure. So you put in the relevant clause. Okay. The sale and purchase is subject to the seller carrying out rectification works on the wall in the master bedroom. Okay. And will allow me to inspect the property 2 weeks before completion. And if it's not rectified, then if the completion is delayed for any reason, the seller is responsible. I will claim late completion interest, etc., etc., etc. So that is very useful because you need to see, you need to feel. Let's take a BUC now, building under construction. Is there a house for you to see? Where's the house? It's not built yet. So what do you see? You see the show flat. Very good. What do you see in the show flat? You will see the whole house, the exact layout, how it's supposed to be from the door to the end. Plus also, what have they put in? What have they told you they will give you for the price? You know, for example, your timber flooring or your marble flooring or you have your choices, right? You have your choices. Plus other things that don't have a choice, they will have it there at the show flat and you are seeing it, correct? Yes. Remember, a developer has a duty. The developer has a legal duty to give to you a property that is similar in size, that is similar in terms of layout, in the materials used, must be same or similar quality, the quantity too, whatever they promise to give you, everything must be the same. Okay? And I'll tell you one more thing about size of the property, okay, BUC? One more thing, very important. I tell you, this is something, even I was quite startled when I first handled this matter. Okay, this salesperson came to me and he said, Mr. Subra, I'm going to sell this condominium. It's a resale condominium. And I feel there's some difference in the size. I said, why? What is the problem? And he said, you know, the seller says this is the size, but when I do a title search, I find a different size. Most sellers don't know lah. Trust me. Most sellers don't know the size of the property. They don't even know whether they are joint tenants or tenants in common. Trust me. So he said, I don't know. You know, I'm not really very sure about the size. Title search shows this. Developer says this. And then when I asked him, I said, because he bought it directly from a developer, so I asked him whether he's got the documents which a developer gave. So he also took a look at it. And it's also different. Different. So which size do I take? The developer has said smaller size. The land title search shows a slightly bigger size. And the slightly bigger size, if you multiply by the per square foot price, the difference is 100 over 1,000. Is that a lot of money? Of course it is. It is a lot of money. He was good to check this first. Very good to check. You know, these are all your due diligence lah. You know, these are all the questions you must ask. Ask the condo developer. Did you buy it from a developer? Have you got your documents? Many of them will keep. Huh? Okay, look at it. Do a title search in list search. Look at the size and what the seller says. Most of the time, seller will be wrong. Now, so which size to take? Obviously, I told him, you must take the in-list size, which is bigger. You know why bigger? You know why bigger? Developers will always commit to a fixed size, but will give you a little bit more. You all realize, huh? This one, huh? Okay. Now, they will tell you this is the size, but they will give you a little bit more. In many cases, I've seen. They rather give a little bit more, okay, than to give less and be wrong. Because they cannot, the size cannot be less by more than 3%. The size of the property cannot be less by more than 3%. That means to say, if the property is less by 5%, what is the allowance? 3%. So there's 2% that you can actually now claim against the developer. What will you say? Developer, look, it is less by more than 3%. Essentially, 2% more, less by 2% more, because 3% is your buffer, plus minus. So the 2% more is so much in terms of size. Per square feet is so much, so please reduce the price. You cannot pull out of the transaction, but you can allow the developer to reduce the price. So when will you pay this sum? When will the developer give you this allowance? Very simple. You have progress payments. In the next progress payments, they will reduce the amount accordingly, the 2% worth monetarily. So this is actually what happens in practice. So it's good to check. So don't rely on the seller. Don't rely on the original documents that the developer gave, because if that was used, you know what the seller told the agent? I have my original documents given by the developer. The size there is so accurate, it must be accurate. Let's use that. If he had used that and committed to the sale, then he has lost the money. He can't recoup. There's no chance of him getting back the money. It's a bad deal. Sometimes the law says, you've had a bad deal. That person, the other person, the buyer, has had a better deal. So it depends on who's careful. So coming back to this, developer has a legal obligation to deliver the same layout, the same items that he's supposed to give you. Everything must be the same as in the show flat. Having said that, there's no need to worry about rectification, because you don't have a physical property. You don't have to look at, like, nothing to look at. They've already given you, they have a duty to give you like how it looks. So that goes to show that if there's a virtual viewing, if there's a virtual, digital advertising that's done, that can also be good enough, because there's no physical property to see anyway. So you all should be marketing BUCs actually more than resale properties. Okay, now another thing is this, defect, talking about defect. In the case of a building under construction, there's this thing called the defect liability period. When the developer gives the buyer notice to take vacant possession, he sends him a letter, notice to take vacant possession. So that's the day you get the key. You'll get the key to the house. Go in, and then into the apartment or into the condominium unit. And then they will have a list, defects list. It's quite standard for them to do that. So all you need to do is go around and check from the smallest scratch to anything that you think is a bit major, just write it all down. The defect liability period is for 12 months. They must do it. Okay, they must do it. So you have your defect liability period as your protection. You have your show flat, which you can actually virtually see, digitally you can also see, which is not a problem. Or you may have already seen earlier, but haven't decided whether to buy, and you now want to buy, go ahead, because there's no physical property. There's defect liability period. They have to deliver what they promised to you without shortchanging you. Okay. Another thing about the contract, is this. A developer's option to purchase and sale and purchase agreement, are they all standard or not? Are the contracts standard for every buyer? Or is it different? You have bought, let's say, the Treasure, for example, Treasure at Tampines. You brought two buyers and you realize, hey, how come both the options to purchase and the sale and purchase agreement are different? You will never see that. You know why? Because the law states very clearly that there is a format. There is a format for them to follow. Okay? There's a format for them to follow. The exact format must be followed. So that's why it looks the same. Just like your HDB OTP. They use the term standard HDB OTP. Why do they use the word standard? Because HDB's got standard. Others have no standard, is it? No. Standard because the terms and conditions are the same for everybody. Why? Why is the developer's OTP and sale and purchase agreement also is the same for everyone? Very simple. It's one seller, HDB. It's one seller, developer, who puts out the terms, and they are standard. Do you know, in the past, a long time ago, before the Housing Development Act and the regulations, the rules came about, there's an act, Act of Parliament, okay, which is law. Now, before that, developers used to bully people. If someone comes looking like a very smart person who talks a lot, developers offered better terms. If someone comes looking like a bit stupid, not so clever, intellectually, I want to buy this condominium, they didn't look that smart, then the developers gave them less favorable terms. So the government had to step in and say, hey, look here, you're the same seller selling to all these buyers, the same development. From common facilities, everything is the same. There's so much of similarity. And the price is the same. Why is one person getting a better deal than the other? No. We need to standardize. So the act came about. The rule says form 2, form whatever. There's a standard format for them to follow. So where's the risk? There's no risk. Because there's no risk of negotiating also. Because if it's a resale property, it's different. Resale property, is all your resale contracts standard? Are they all the same? Are they all the same? They don't have to be the same because they are dealing, we use the term, they're dealing at arm's length. That means all of us, you and I have equal power. Whereas a developer and a buyer, the buyers are weak, the developer is strong. One developer, big, they have very deep pocket, they have a lot of money. Very powerful person, even if there are 2,000 units, 1,000 over units at Treasure at Tampines, they are all weak, all together are weak compared to the developer. So that's why the law steps in to say, keep it like this. For HDB's purpose, it's public housing, so all must be standard. You cannot have your neighbor having a different contract. All same terms. Okay, so there is an advantage in promoting BUC for sure. Whatever small points that I've told you, many of you will surely know that many of the things that I've said may not be very new to you, But one or two things that I've said, I'm sure you did not know. So use this information and convince your client. You got to tell them, let's look at the risk, Mr. So-and-so, you're interested to buy property, and yeah, I know you're very keen, but let's just look at the nature of properties that are available for you to consider because you want an investment property. And then you take them through what I said, the contract is actually standard. So there's no risk in negotiating badly. There's no physical property for you to see except the digital stuff that the developer had sent to us, which we forwarded to you, which is actually very good enough. Or you had seen earlier, it's just that you want to commit now. How to commit without moving and why there's no risk, because the property is as it is, like in the show flat, they will give it to you. There's no need to worry about defects. There's no need to worry about layout. There's no need to worry about a lot of things. And if there are defects, they will rectify. So you have actually full protection. You have full protection. Now, one more thing that you can say to your buyer is this. Sir, after every pandemic like SARS, the market picked up. Why will the market pick up? Because everybody wants to make money. Everybody wants to have a normal life. Even the government will want to recover a lot of monies which they have given out from the reserves. They will all want to do that. So we have to be extremely careful. We have to be extremely careful about how things are done. We have to be careful. Okay? Now, when I talk about being careful, I will tell you one thing that you have to be very careful about. All of you pay attention. When you take a person A to pay the 5% booking fee and he purchases the property. Okay, he's already purchased the property. And then he exercises on the sale and purchase agreement, signs, we send it back within 3 weeks, done. Contract is formed. Then you issue another option. You issue another option to sell 1%. You issue another option to sell 1% to another person. We all know why this is done. For example, my uncle, who owns multiple properties, he wants to buy a property, but he doesn't want to because of the additional buyer's stamp duty. He owns more than like 3 properties and all that. So he's put off. So this will help him to become owner because he's buying only 1%. Right? And you can get a bank loan because to the bank, they take the whole property as security, the entire property. Why? Let me explain the law to you. The duty of the mortgagors, you know, both will become mortgagor to the bank. The bank is the mortgagee. What is the duty of the mortgagors? This is the law. The duty of the mortgagors is joint and several. Remember these two words, joint and several. The duty to pay is joint and several. That means to say, both of you can pay the monies to me, I'm the bank, both of you can pay the monies to me, or one of you can pay. One can pay the full sum and it's settled. Makes sense, right? Who should pay? The bank shouldn't bother what? As long as the money is paid, redemption notice given, money paid, right? So who pays is not important. So you can get a loan. No problem with that at all. But where you have to be a bit careful is this. I got my lawyer in the office to write a letter to IRAS. Write a letter to IRAS. Giving this exact scenario. A goes to a property developer, pays the 5%, takes the option to purchase, buys the property. He then exercises on the sale and purchase agreement, a contract is formed. After that, he issues his option to purchase to sell 1% of the share to this other person. And that person exercises the option and he buys the property, becomes 1% owner. Is there any problem with this? Is it okay? They replied, it is up to the parties. It is up to the parties to decide on the shares or whether they want to purchase as joint tenants or tenants in common. It's up to this 100% owner to sell how many, whatever percent that he wants to sell to a buyer. It's up to him, up to them. So everything looks very fine. Huh? But the last line was what made me feel very uncomfortable. They said, the last line said this, if the reason for doing this is to avoid or reduce stamp duty obligations. Remember, if the whole exercise is aimed at reducing or avoiding stamp duty implications, IRAS has the right to do an audit. Okay. Now, when you register, where does this information go? It goes to the Singapore Land Authority. They keep information on ownership. So one sole owner then became two. They will know, SLA and IRAS. In fact, they are in the same building. Do you know that? IRAS building, that's where Singapore Land Authority is. They can share information. IRAS can do an audit. IRAS is very, 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 very good in doing an audit, trust me, because IRAS is like the financial controller of a company. Hey, the financial controller is a very, very important person in a company. So IRAS is like the financial controller for the whole country. Don't you think they have to be very clever and very smart? They can do audit, pick up and call the parties. Come, the two of you. We realized this was done, and it's the magical 1%. Why was it done? We are keen to find out. And what will they say? Very simple. Oh, when I was doing my financial, I didn't do a proper financial calculation. And then I realized that I actually needed a bank loan, or that my uncle had a lot of CPF monies and I needed to use the CPF monies to buy this property. If not, I won't be able to continue. Or I needed a loan. I didn't do my calculations properly. My dear friends, if you tell this to IRAS, in fact, the whole industry will say this. Everyone will say that, I needed a loan. The other person can get a loan, and the bank can lend. Or here's a lot of CPF monies. So here to come in and join me in the purchase. Yeah. Right, that's the reason. Yeah. If they are not satisfied with the reason, they can require payment of the sum that was not paid. For example, uncle, more than 3, maximum ABSD, please pay that. And because the stamp duty was not paid on time, you are now liable to penalty up to 4 times. But I've seen sometimes they are not so bad, they reduce one count. So 3 times. That's bad enough. So that means to say, if the ABSD that was supposed to be paid was, let's say, 50,000, times 3 is how much? 150,000. And then the actual ABSD which you didn't pay, another 50,000. Why was the property even bought? I would question. Maybe that's the profit that you could have made, which you are paying off. And why was the property bought? So be very careful in this area. What I will suggest is this. If you want to attempt this, see, this is, I'm telling you this so that you are going to be very careful in the way you think can work. Huh? Audit can be done 1 year's time, 2 years' time, 3 years' time, even 5 years' time, no problem. Audit can be done. Okay, audit can be done. Remember this, okay? In my office, we had one scenario. This lady, she comes from a very rich family. The husband and his company, we all acted in purchase of many properties. Now the wife came to buy a few properties. So the very first property, she came to see us. And our lawyers asked this question, do you own any other residential property? She said, nope. You sure? Yes. 0. So if there's a wrong declaration, then IRAS will do an audit and there can be the ABSD payable plus also penalty. Okay, no problem at all. Acknowledged everything, filled up the form, and we paid. At the time, she was a PR, so at the time, PR 5%, ABSD was paid. Done. She came to buy the 2nd, 3rd, 4th residential properties. Everywhere we increased the ABSD. We knew she declared. We also looked at the file, all correct, perfect job. 5 years later, IRAS sends us a letter stating that the client, when she bought the very first property, she did not pay the correct ABSD amount. And we were like, hey, this file, it was in the warehouse, It was in the warehouse. We had to call the file. Our lawyer looked at it, looked at the declaration, 0. Before buying the first property, before she engaged us, we asked, do you own any other residential properties or any other residential property component? 0. So we wrote to her and said, look, your declaration was as such. Now IRAS is saying that you should have been liable to ABSD, additional amount. Did you own any other property at that time? So she recollected and she said, oh yeah, actually I had one other property at that time, residential property. Oversight. I think she may have been a bit sincere, but come on, how would you not know how many residential properties you have? Unless you have like 30, 40 properties. Anyway, that won't matter. What more than 3 is the maximum already for ABSD. You won't even know. So she tried to reverse the whole thing and said, you should have checked. I said, right. This declaration must come from you. I don't have to go and investigate. Okay, if I do a search through some credit bureaus, if I do a search, it may show all the properties that you had in your life. How is that going to help? I don't know how many was completed, how many was sold, and they won't have all those details, but the different property addresses, how to track now, how to have that information is not useful. You have to declare to us. He said, yeah, actually, it's my mistake. What do we do now? So you know what? Myself and my lawyer went to IRAS on 2 occasions for this lady, to tell them that, sir, she paid ABSD on all the other transactions correctly. I think first one was a sincere oversight. I know it's hard to believe, but please help her, because she paid all the other stamp duty obligations. Please help her. And you know what? The total amount with the penalty plus the ABSD payable was supposed to be about 550 over 1,000. No? It was reduced to 280,000. Okay, 2 visits, and we had to virtually convince the IRAS officer who asked for 280. And then the client came to make out not a check. She came with a cashier's order. Can you believe? For 280,000 in favor of IRAS. We closed the file. So don't take IRAS for granted. Now with the COVID, I can tell you one thing. Now with the COVID and a lot of money's gone out from the reserves, don't you think IRAS would be very keen to recover some monies that they should have had to their use very much earlier? So if you want to do this, that the 99.1% or whatever percentage, there's no law that says, hey, it can be 90-10, it can be 95-5, but don't take 1%. There's no law, there's nothing like that. But be careful when you do this. Be careful when you do this, when you like issue another option for another percentage, because it can be risky. So what I suggest is this: if you come to us, we will write to IRAS and ask that this be allowed to be done. Can you please give approval? I think that's a better option than just doing it. Doing it can be done. There will be a transaction. There can be a transaction. But after that, are you going to sleep peacefully for the next 3 years, 2 years, 5 years, 4 years? I'm not sure. I'm not sure how you're going to feel. All it takes is audit and then a letter sent. That's it. What will the client then tell you? Agent, look on what ma. Look on what ma. What simi pun wei yao ma. Oh yeah. That means, basically, for those of you who don't understand Hokkien, you talked about this. You initiated this. I didn't know anything. What are we going to do now? What are we going to do now? Trouble. So, be very careful. We all need transactions. We all need money, but it must come the right way. Because this one particular transaction can affect your registration, can affect your practice as a salesperson. Why let this one transaction ruin so much that's at stake? Let's value our job. This is a good industry. Okay, so be very, very careful not to undertake things like this. Okay, right now. Okay, another thing that I want to tell you is this. Another thing, okay, since we talk about BUC, before I go on to something else, I hope, Celine, we have time, right?
I can open up until latest by 3:30 for you.
Okay, then I'll go a little. Okay, thanks, Celine.
No problem.
Okay, now, see, after talking to Celine, I forgot what I wanted to say, no? Celine has got some power, I think, no? She's
So,
laughing.
Mr. Subra, we got 3 questions based on your current topic. Will you to answer them?
Yeah, okay.
Okay, I can read out to you. So
Yes.
from Alex Day, he asked, didn't really catch on the tenancy agreement. Can TA be digitally signed?
Okay. Now, because the Electronic Transactions Act only talks about restricting sale and purchase and disposition of properties, that means you dispose your shares in the property, wills, power of attorney. Okay, we can take it that for tenancy, it should be okay, because we are not parting with our shares in the property. We are not undertaking sale and purchase or disposition. So technically for tenancy matters, it should be all right. And it's good practice to Zoom. You know, you just have a quick Zoom. You just witness the signing, because I understand through Zoom, you can record, like what's being done now, you can record. So let it be recorded and then you keep it as proof, okay?
Okay, then from Nicole, she asked, what are the main differences in the Law Society of Singapore's condition of sales 2012 with the 1999 version?
Very good. You know what? I can talk for 1.5 hours on that.
Maybe we open a new topic for that next time.
If I start talking now, finish, you're not going to even have your dinner, trust me. Okay, but I'll tell you one thing. I'll tell you all very quickly. When you act for a seller, use 1999 conditions. When you represent the buyer, use 2012 conditions. Why? Let me tell you very quickly. 1999 condition says, when the buyer signs on the acceptance column, all the risk in the property will pass to the buyer. But 2012 condition says, the seller must deliver the property at the date of the option. In the same condition, it was at the date of the option. So if you look at the exercise of option when you signed, that means after viewing, when you sign, all the risk will pass if you take the 1999 Law Society's conditions. So it's not good for the buyer, but very good for the seller because all risk has passed. But if you look at the 2012 conditions, the buyer will say, like for example, if he has viewed, when he viewed, it looked in a certain condition. But on the option date, what was the condition of the property? So the buyer can, if he has a video or some recording, he can say, hey, on the date of the option, there was no leak in the hall, no? Now there's a leak. So please go and rectify it for me before completion. Please do it, okay? because I've used 2012 conditions. So that is the difference, very small difference. I'll tell you maybe another day the other topics that I'll arrange. Okay, next question.
Okay, from Eileen Lim. 4 times penalty of ABSD is if the BUC is bought under TIC, can IRAS audit within 7 years gap?
Okay, IRAS does not have any time limit on this. There is no known time limit, like after 3 years, we won't look at it. After 4 years, we won't look at it. Like bankruptcy, you go back 5 years, right? They won't go beyond 5 years, 10 years old, they won't do. But IRAS has got no time limit. They can come back anytime. Okay, they can come back anytime. So we have to be careful in this. Yeah? Yeah.
Okay, last question from Fion Gan. For size of shop house, do we follow the gross built-up reflected in BCA record? The size reflected looks bigger than actual unit.
Okay, now, what I will suggest to you is this. When it comes to size, you just do an in-list search. Do an in-list search, because especially like built up and all that is very, very technical. Owners don't even know the ground size. You expect them to know the built up, many of them will fail. Many of them will fail. They will all start guessing, they won't know. Because when they bought the property, they were so interested in the property that they went groggy looking at the property and say, I must buy this property and I love this property, I love it, and you won't bother about the size even. Who's going to worry about built up? Wow, 6 rooms, man, upstairs. I'm so happy, man, you know. 1 for billiard, 1 for karaoke, fantastic. You won't bother. But I tell you, you just rely on the in-list search, which will tell you clearly, because our law is like this. The in-list search is based on mirror principle. For example, if I stand in front of a mirror, I'm the only person in the room. The only thing I must see, the only person I must see is myself, because mirror what? If I see someone else beside me, then it's like Friday the 13th, or it's like some horror movie, or during 7 month time, maybe somebody is beside you, but you should only be seeing yourself. So the law is, what is on the ground is reflected in this title search. So just follow that. Or if you want to get a commitment from the seller, ask the seller to commit on the size of the property. Tell him, can you inform, you put it in writing. And then can I then use that information to give it to the buyer? But over and above that will be an in-list search because of the mirror principle. So always rely on that. Okay?
Okay.
Ken.
Thank you, Mr. Subra. You may continue.
Okay, thank you, Celine. I will continue. I'll continue. Now, the thing is this. What else can you do as a salesperson now? I tell you one thing you can do. You can sit in front of the TV, okay, and become a consultant for Netflix. What type of movies to watch? What kind of movies you think they should produce? Wow, you can do, forget that. Or you keep walking from the hall to the fridge to the hall all the time, and then expanding. You are an expansion program. Don't do all that. A little bit of that. But what I would suggest is this. Now is the time to sit back, calmly reflect on your clients. You have got the contact numbers. Okay, I'm sure you all have their contact numbers. Make calls. Say hello. Hello, Mr. Tan. You know, this is so-and-so. And it's been some time since we met, but I thought, you know, I'd just give you a courtesy call. How are things? Are you safe? You're working from home? Okay, how's your business? I just wanted to catch up with you on some property aspects. You know, there are some very good properties. You know, after the pandemic is over, just like any other pandemic, prices all have started going up, and you know, the market will pick up because there's pent-up demand waiting to meet the supply. Naturally, it will happen. Okay, so I just want to understand a few things from you. And you know, what are do you have any property plans? Be very open, very open. Do you have any property plan? Would you like to own multiple properties? And I tell you, if he's a typical Singaporean will say, yeah, of course. Typical Singaporean. If he's not a true blue, Singaporean, he may say, no, I'm not interested in properties. He will be. Then you just say, okay, I tell you what, because it's been some time since I met, can we do like a quick review on what are the properties that you have now so that I can advise you adequately. Maybe, you know, there are some good commercial properties too without ABSD. And there's some very nice BUC properties. You know, BUC properties have always been very correctly priced. Developers paid a very high price last time, maybe even 1,800 per square feet, you know. They paid a very high price, but they've become very realistic over time. And they've always sold the properties at a very, very competitive price. So that's your plus point, number one. Huh? That's your plus point. So it's sold at a very, very competitive price. Okay. And then I have some properties that you can actually see. I can send you videos, virtual, and don't have to be afraid because, you know, there's no actual physical property to see. It's just a show flat. And the video is so good, so good. It's like as if you are in person. You know, I have clients buying overseas properties by just looking at some videos and pictures, and they actually are very, very happy. If they can buy properties overseas, Mr. Tan, why can't we buy properties in our own country? We can. There's no extra risk. No. Because what they have promised to give is what they should give. There is the law, legal provision like that. If you don't believe me, you talk to my lawyer, Subra. I'll give you a lecture on that, man. Just say that. Put the call to me. Okay? So just say there's no risk and you've got the defect liability period, the price is just right. So you ask them what would be comfortable for you, your affordability. Don't go and ask how much your salary, how much do you earn a month, how much savings do you have? Nobody's going to tell you. But just say, you know, depending on your budget, there are some $700,000, $800,000 condominium units, smaller ones, which are very ideal for your investment. I don't know exactly what you're looking at. Sometimes these smaller properties can give you decent rental rates. Selling it can also be easier because, you know, we expect more young people not to be married over time, aging population, people may need smaller flats. And the demand, there are enough statistics showing that smaller units are going to be in heavy demand next time because of our low fertility rate, people marrying, wanting to be single, you know? Yeah, so there's no loss at all. And it's easier to also rent out to a single person, etc. So think about it, let me know. I have some good videos to show you and take that. You see how I have sounded. You look at my expression. Go on Zoom Live, it's free, right? Within 45 minutes. Are you going to give a lecture like me? No. Just take them through very quickly, short. Hot topics, just get their attention. Tension first. Call them 1-2 weeks later. I'll drop you another call. I'll call you just to keep in touch. Hope it's okay. Can I? Thank you. Just think about it. Think about it. Or maybe you want to buy with your brother and sisters. You all come together and each person put in maybe 200,000 or something like that. And then when the market picks up, you buy earlier, your seller stamp duty time will run faster. Why wait? And you know, by the time it picks up, you're more ready. Yeah, you're more ready. So look at the advantages, and then you decide you can do that. You can have this conversation. Yeah, I think I can sell properties, man. Actually, looking at it. Okay, right. So that is one thing to do. Another thing to do is this: you're not selling anything, but you're helping your client. You're creating an obligation. Make them feel like you owe them something. Do this. Mr. Tan, I know you bought this property like 4 years ago. Have you ever thought of paying up the loan? You know, there are people who have the money, but who don't think of paying up their loan, you know. Because they've never thought of it. People have never thought of refinancing. Not that they don't know, but it's like not in there. It's not up there in their head of priorities. So you be a reminder. You make that courtesy call. Actually, I think you should be outside your lock-in period more than 2 years already, now 4 years. Yes, yeah, absolutely right. Absolutely right, 4 years. He'll be happy with you also that you know how long ago you've been owning the property. You know, someone who can read you, who understands you, you will like what? You won't slam the phone down. Okay? So he's going to be very appreciative of your call. And then you say, redemption. Yeah, actually, I have only like 150,000 to pay. And this is my own property where I live. Then you advise, sir, your own property that you live, try to pay it up. Your other investment properties, never mind, let the rental pay, then you wait for capital appreciation, that's all right. But your own home, try to redeem. Try to redeem. And then he may also think, this will work in his mind. Actually, this guy is very right. This is the very home that I live in. And yeah, I think I should consider, and it's a little bit only. Pay up, because he has the money, he will also save on the interest one. So people, you give them ideas to save money, they're going to remember you. Another thing that you can do to your client is this: hey, this particular bank's interest rates are very attractive. I know at the time when you signed, it was very high, 2-point-something%. Now it's like 1-point-something%, you know. Would you like to refinance? I can assist you in that, help you to refinance and save some money, maybe $300-400 a month or $500 a month. That client is going to be very excited. Who wouldn't be happy to save $500 a month? I would be happy. Won't you be happy? You think that client is not going to be happy? He's going to be very happy. Say, oh, this guy made a first-class call. I save $500 a month. I save $400 a month. In a year, how much? $6,000. And then in 3-4 years, what, 24,000, 20 over 1,000. My God, that's quite a lot of money, man. Hey, you can keep that for my children's education. No. Or have them start a business somewhere, you know, a small one. People like to save. Hey, if there are two shops selling the same item, one is offering it at 30 cents cheaper. Would you go to this shop, which is more expensive? It's the same product, okay, same quality lah. Would you go to this shop or to that shop? If you go to that shop, which is more expensive, I should take you to IMH lah. You won't. You'll go to this other shop, that's just beside, right in front. Not that you have to travel and all that. You go to this other shop, which is cheaper. It makes sense. They all like to save. So you give them ideas like this. What are you doing? Number one, you're keeping in touch. You're adding value. You're helping them to save money. They're going to remember you. Remember, you spoke about BUC. And then you help them to save the money. They're going to think of you, whether in 1 month's time, maybe they think, hey, I think I better redeem. Then they call you. Okay, you help to coordinate. You can refer it to me, that matter. Or you help to refinance. Okay, you also get a commission. Just for making this call, even if it's a few $100s, if you call 10 clients, it becomes thousands of dollars. Why not tell me? What have you lost? Your only investment is time. Cut the time in front of Netflix. Spend more time with the client. Talk to them. Find out, what do you like? What do you want? You can also tell them, sir, you know what? I want to be very open with you. Some things I'll tell you not even to buy. Or selling, if you want to sell, I'll say this is not the time. I'll be very open with you, but please be just as open. We need to work like insurance agents. You know, with the insurance agent, I need a policy. I have to open up lah. I can't hide what? I can't hide, right? Then I'll be having the wrong policy. Or you go to a doctor and you say, doctor, pain, huh? Where's the pain? My leg. Which leg? Right or left? And then I purposely tell the other leg. And what can the doctor do? He can do nothing. Actually, my right leg is painful, but I say left leg is painful and see whether the doctor can find out anything. Rubbish. You have to be open. So be as open as possible. Be as open as possible. Add value. Don't think of like just sale and purchase only. These are all the other things you can do. Or fact find. Put down. Have some paper for you to write down about the client. He needs a small condominium. What he can afford, 700,000 to 800,000. You can zoom in already. Or if he says, no, I need like a 3-bedroom minimum, you know. You can do that. Or you can even ask, like, are you worried about your additional buyer stamp duty? It says, yeah, I have the money to buy it, but the stamp duty thing is a real put off. Sir, why don't you have you thought of decoupling? What does that mean? You know, many people don't know. Many people don't know. I spoke to a group of professional accountants, 40 of them, and none of them knew about decoupling and declaration of trust. They didn't know. They know. I was very shocked that they didn't know. So I'm telling you. So you tell them, why don't you decouple? And then they'll get afraid. Decouple? You mean my marriage? Decouple? No. Stay intact. Marriage is okay. Only property split. Co-ownership becomes sole ownership. From 2 names, it becomes 1. Co-ownership becomes sole ownership, sir. So we release the other person. The other person will fly. Normally men like to fly. The other person will fly to buy another property because he's Singaporean, his property count is then 0. The moment the wife exercises on the option, the next day he can fly. So give this idea, hey, but I have a lawyer who can sit down with you all and go through and prepare the option to purchase and do it all very carefully. In Subra. Say, I can take you to the lawyer. Why don't we explore? Come, let's arrange a meetup. Done. Why they decouple? Because they want to buy another property. You have a purchase coming up already. So we can do decoupling and then act in the new purchase. Or you ask, hey, I realize your children, they were very young. They were only like 3 years old, 3 or 4 years old when you bought this property. How old are they? And then he tells you, my son is 15, daughter is 16 only. I said, right. You told me you like to own properties all that. Then he says, yeah, but this stamp duty. And I think, then you say, hey, why don't you do a settlement? You settle the estate lah. That means to say, you give this property to your child. Declaration of trust. Oh, so when you do that, what actually happens? You are buying the property in your name. Minor cannot buy. Below 21 cannot be an owner of property. You buy in your name, but on trust for your child. Oh, then the stamp duty? Stamp duty, we will always write to IRAS. IRAS is given a lot of our files. IRAS is given letter stating no ABSD is payable. So do it carefully. No ABSD is payable. Keep in the file, give one to client. Nobody will attack you. Okay, you can sleep, eat, rest peacefully. So, but of course, there are some clients who will advise writing and they will say, no, because I'm rushing to buy, it's okay, please prepare for me. Then we prepare, given the proper advice. So we're all covered. The idea is to be covered, not to stare at each other and say like, you know, finger point. That's trouble. So, declaration of trust, decoupling. You give this advice. Redemption, sir, your own property. You must talk about all these things so that they think that you're not greedy, that you're not after the income only. They must have this idea. You know, sometimes when you call, when an insurance agent calls you, hello, Mr. Tan, yeah, I'm calling, I'm from Great Eastern. What will you say? Oh, so sorry, sorry, I'm very busy now. Sorry, so sorry. Yeah, call you back. You call me back. Yeah, thank you, bye-bye. Generally, when you make a sales call, many people may think you are up to just wanting to make money and help yourself. You just want a fatter pocket. But if you talk about balanced things, you know, acquire property, redemption, do refinancing, they will know it's not going to really benefit you that much, you know, but package it like this. Keep all these factors and make calls. You tell me whether somebody responds favorably or not. Even if that person doesn't want to redeem, refinance, or look at decoupling or declaration of trust, there may be a family member in his home who's got like a bit more money, and they may tell the other person, hey, I heard of this. I'll give you my salesperson's number. Drop him a call and talk to him. You know, and a family or friends may just refer to someone, and you don't know how you get your leads. How do you get your leads? They come in different forms, right? Let there be no limit on where the work will flow in. Let it be so open that you don't know who's going to talk about you now. I don't know how many people are talking about me now, but I can tell you one thing, they will say good things. Even my friends in practice, convincing friends, they all they say, hey, nice guy, very helpful, very hospitable, very friendly. Our service, you know, during the CBP, I told you all just now, for those of you who come in late, my office, we were allowed to have staff. We are allowed to have staff from day one. From 7th April up to now, we've been given permission to operate from the office. And you know, we did many completions during the circuit breaker period. Can I tell you something? All the completions were successful, not one problem from anyone. Nobody complained about anything to me. All said good, perfect. All said good things, so much so they even went to Google all to go and do the rating for me, you know, because I tell them sometimes, be happy, you want to do this. So it's really very important that you speak very holistically, okay, very holistically, all these things mentioned about all these things that I've said, yeah, okay. Now, we are also property lawyers, we are also family lawyers, we handle family matters. We prepare a lot of wills for clients. You know, will making is so important. lasting power of attorney is so important. We've seen family break up because the will was not made. We have seen a person who is like dementia, but cannot do a lot of things, must go to court and spend a lot of money. No need. You do a lasting power attorney for a few $100s, you save thousands of dollars. Next time, no need to go to court and apply for someone to step in. It's good for me to earn that extra money when we go to court. I earn more, but my advice to everyone would be save money and do the lasting power attorney. We can package will and lasting power attorney together for you and your clients. You can talk about my will making and lasting power attorney also. Explain to your clients, say, hey, when you're having dementia, when you don't have capacity, you must have someone to step in for you and decide for you and do things, personal matters, financial matters, health matters, everything. This person can step in. No need to spend $6,000, $7,000 going to court and appoint someone. The court will also take time to appoint that someone. Why have all that? Make a will so that your family unity is preserved, because children may start fighting with each other over what they should get. Although the law states very clearly what they should get, one brother can bully another brother and say, look, I did more for parents. I take 70%, you take 30%. They will never talk to each other. I've seen all these things happen. But if the will says 50-50, then it's very clear. No one can bully the other. It's written by the parent who passed on. So they will follow, they'll be forced to follow. So you can put all these things and more to them. You know, let me just look at some, just now somebody was saying, can you repeat 1999, 2012 conditions? Okay, very simple. Joyce Ong has asked this question. Now, Joyce, 1999 or 2012, there is choice, not both, one or the other. When you represent a seller, use 1999. When you represent a buyer, use 2012. Why? I tell you why. In the case of 1999 conditions, the buyer takes a lot of risk. The buyer takes the risk. That means, you see, I'm gone now to do viewing. I'm now looking around the house. Okay, I'm viewing. And then later I exercise on the option to purchase. Contract is formed, okay? I exercise the option. There is leakage after that. You know what? If there's leak discovered after that, before completion, after contract, before completion, if you go to the seller and say, seller, there is a leak, rectify it. You know what the seller will say? I'm so sorry, because there is a clause in the 1999 condition that says, you know the actual state of the property. You know, even if it didn't leak the few times you came to view, it doesn't matter. It is leaking and you are responsible. Okay, this is your problem, not mine, because the condition says very clearly that you know the actual condition and state of the property. So the risk passes. But if you look at 2012 conditions, 2012 condition says this: in what is the condition of the property that the seller must deliver to the buyer? Very simple. It says, go to the date of the option or exercise of option, whichever is earlier. Tell me which will be earlier. Date of the option is earlier. That's why I say date of option. On the date of the option, what was the condition of the property? You deliver it to me on completion. So it's better than all the viewings, conditions, all that you saw earlier. You didn't know about the property. There's more protection for the buyer in the case of 2012 conditions, because if you can show on the date of the option, okay, let's say you viewed and then the option was issued. On the date of the option, if there was no leak, if you can prove that there was no leak in the hall, that means it was not dripping right above the fan. You can now tell the seller, hey seller, on the date of the option, I have video, I have photos. It was not like that. After the date of the option, it is starting to leak before completion. That is, please rectify it for me. So the seller will then have to rectify. So 2012 gives more protection to buyers. 1999 gives more protection to the sellers. Okay, I hope you all are very clear with this. Okay, right? And then, right. Okay, so these are the things to actually highlight. Now I'm going to share some screen. This is my company, Subra TT Law LLC. And can you see our motto? It says relationship driven. This relationship is very important, and this relationship must be a very sincere, open relationship. That's right. That's how we work. That's how you must work with your clients too. Okay, now, this is my name card. You all can take a picture if you want to take a picture. My contact number is there. A lot of agents, even clients, send me WhatsApp messages. They call me. No problem at all. If you're comfortable sending an email to me, email address is there. Okay? Now, these are all the areas we practice. You see, we are property lawyers. Number one, you can see. Intellectual property, if any of your clients want to, they have a trademark or brand name, they want to protect, they need protection in the business, we register it for them. Insurance law, any insurance related matter, let us know. Family law, family law. After COVID, we expect this area to be a bit busy also, no? Because when they are all staying in the house together, they can start fighting with each other, no? It can go both ways, they become more close, more loving, or they can want to tear each other apart. So we do a lot of family practice as well, family law, divorces and all that. We prepare a lot of wills, we prepare private trusts also. If you have a wealthy client who needs a private trust, let me know. Declaration of trust and private trust are different. Okay, let me speak a little bit about this to you. Okay, let me speak a little bit about this to you. 2 agents called me within 1 week. Mr. Subra, there's some issue here. Can you help me? I said, what is it? China buyer, Chinese couple, having a son. The wife is very unhappy with the husband. The wife is unhappy with the husband. Now the husband and wife have money, joint account. She says, I want to buy a property in Singapore and give it to my son to protect my son's interest because I think the marriage is going to fail. So what can be done? I said, okay, we can prepare a private trust. Prepare a private trust, okay? What does that mean? Very simple. We prepare a private trust, not declaration of trust, not for property, saving ABSD. Anyway, they're all Chinese nationals. We prepare a private trust where the mother will buy it and hold it on trust for the son. When he becomes an adult or whatever age, whatever income that's generated, the income will be for the boy, kept in a separate trust account. When the property is given to him, transferred to him, he can do whatever that he wants with him. At what age should he have it? This is private trust. You can cater to income only, and then at what age you can transfer to him. Private trust will allow that. When you do this, what happens is this. What happens is this, the law is like this. The trustee, let's say the mother wants to be in charge, okay? The beneficiary, the benefit is the child. The mother appoints herself as a trustee. That means the title of the property will come to the mother. She's holding the title. In holding it for the child who is the beneficiary, it will be very difficult for the husband to take this property from her because it's actually for the child. A trust has been prepared. Even if there's family dispute, like how much money you have, I have, this one is taken out of the calculation because this is for the child already, bought already. So there's protection for the child, also protection for her. Because if the marriage breaks up, we don't know whether the husband will give her money or not, or what the court will order. That's one scenario. Number 2, Singaporean mother wants to buy a property for a Singaporean daughter, okay? Now the first scenario, ABSD is payable because IRAS will look at who is going to have the beneficial interest, and that's the child. That's the child, right? So they will look at the child profile. What's a profile? Foreigner. So ABSD maximum. The mother is ready to pay. You cannot avoid that. Another scenario, Singaporean family. Mother wants to buy a property for the daughter and private trust. She's an elderly person. The daughter is 27 years old, 27 or 28. The mother wants to buy a property, so we prepare a private trust and keep this property for the daughter. The owner is the mother, so that the husband cannot come and challenge her and say, let's look at all the assets, because the mother is now the legal owner for the daughter to be given in 10 years time or 8 years time. So she has got protection for her daughter, and daughter has got no Singapore residential property, so the property count is 0. So perfect, no ABSD. Very nice. We can prepare private trust. If you have clients who are overseas, who want to buy, but are afraid, maybe you check the background. And if they want to do something like that, we can help. You have a transaction, we will do the private trust. Okay, so look at all these areas. We do adoption, criminal practice. We are also adoption lawyers, very known in that. Personal injury, PR application for foreigners as well as people who work here and want to apply for PR. PR applying for citizenship, I've also assisted. I've got personal experience in this. or PR for investor. That means you'll be an investor PR, separate category. That one I can also assist. We also practice Sharia law, general litigation, the whole works, everything we do. Okay, now. Okay, you can take a picture of this clause. You can take a picture of this clause. What I've done here is this: for resale transactions, in case the buyer or seller needs a bit more of time because of COVID. Due to COVID, if they're not able to function as effectively as before, and if they need more time, then this clause says, hey, when I ask for time, you will give. Or when you ask me for time, I will also give. So it's mutual. So it's very fair to both parties. Very simple. How to add this clause? For example, your total number of clause in the agreement in your OTP is 23. You use ERA's option. Nice. 23 is the last paragraph. All you have to do is write 24 and say, please refer to Annexure 1. I've already stated that. There, write a new paragraph 25 and state, please refer to Annexure 1. So add a new page, call it Annexure 1, and then this clause will appear there. Okay? This clause will appear there. And get your clients to initial, get the seller and the buyer to initial on all the pages, including this page, so that they won't say you just added this in. Okay, so all of them have signed. This is one clause that you can use. Anyway, I'll send it to Celine so that she can send it to all in preeminent, okay? Now, this is our notice saying we are open for business, right? From 7th April onwards, even now. Now my staff are in the office, okay? Right, this is about the electronic signature not applying to sale and purchase of properties, wills, powers of attorney. Okay, now these are our rates. Please take a picture, very important. My email address is below, my contact number is there. Please take a picture. These are our rates for you. Okay, please take a picture. I'll send to Celine also for circulation. Okay, please take a picture. I hope all of you have taken a picture. Don't just take pictures. Send the cases to me. Okay, done. Nice. Go back again. Done. Okay. Done. Okay. Let me see if I have anything else to share. Huh? See, if you all want a talk on, maybe Celine can just take note. If you all want to talk on decoupling and trust, I will give it in a nice new way of looking at it. Advantages, disadvantages. I look at it very holistically. And some of the topics I'll let Celine know. So these are all the things, my dear friends, in preeminent. One more thing, I was so excited when Kevin Lim and I spoke to Alex also briefly, and Celine all said, hey, let's get this done. I was so happy because it's been some time since I connected with all of you in preeminent. And you know what? Although it has taken some time, preeminent is very personal to me. I'm very sincere in saying this. Preeminent is very, very personal to me. When I see that P and preeminent, I feel very happy. And whenever agents come from ERA, and where are you from? And if they say preeminent, I feel so good and very proud. I'm happy to hear that all of you have played your part and achieved your very high agent numbers. You all can continue to grow. If every one of you can bring one more person by the end of the year, just one more person into real estate, you just imagine what your number will be. You just imagine. All it takes, you see, sometimes these things, you don't realize it until someone says, one recruit to benefit you. Not so much your DDs and your managers and your company, they take a small percent. They always take a very small percent. That's why this industry is, you know, the sharing is so perfectly done. Very nice sharing. You take the majority of it, help yourself and have a bigger group, because sometimes the bigger the group, size has got its advantages, you know. Okay, size has got its advantages. Don't think of sitting in front of Netflix and eating all the way and putting on big size. That won't help you. I know many of you are laughing right now. You all pay attention to whatever things that I said, how to safeguard your area. What you can do, but safeguard. You can advise, but be very broad. Don't be like so hard sell in your tactics. Bring in refinancing, bring in redemption. They will think, wow, this guy thinks of me. Start with that and then go to decoupling and trust. Then they will know, you are not wanting something for yourself, you know. So all this is all communication skills. Work on those things first and be very holistic, very broad. So you sit down and you see which one of our clients can need to downgrade, which one need to upgrade. No problem, make calls and just check your house, everything. If they say very bad, you know, I may have to sell my property also, even I think, you know, you call me just on time. Say, do you need to go to a smaller place or not? Sell this and go to a smaller place. I think it's okay lah. It's okay. Don't worry. You know, thanks for opening up. Okay. Thanks for opening up, because if not, I won't be able to help you. Okay. Let me see how you can downgrade, keep that excess money for your business or whatever. You can always sell that and upgrade lah. We know of bankrupt come back and become very successful. So if they could have done it, then what is your issue? Huh? No worries about that. Don't worry at all. Okay. Don't worry. I'm always there to help you lah. Let me look out for, this is your budget, right? Okay, let me see what best I can do. I want to help you in this. Okay, let you get out of this. That's my priority. You know, you must sound like this, like how I'm telling you. See so much of energy, so much of zest, so much of passion, so much of, you know, put your ego all down, be very simple, be with them, be like one of them in the family. Even a family member won't talk like this, but you are talking like this to them. They're going to feel very happy. They're going to feel extremely happy, you know. And you can then go on to achieve so much. You can go on to achieve so much, you know, with them. So keep this communication open. Keep it very, very open, very broad. Don't hard sell. And don't think of making the money. Don't think of just money, because that will put you under a lot of pressure. If you wanted 1 million more, you'll be like, 1 million more, 1 million more. You'll be depressed. Don't think of the money. Think of service, think of value adding, think of passion, think of hyping up everything, think of holistic approach, think of balance, think of your clients. Once you have all these things working, then the money will come. You don't chase the money. Don't, you'll be depressed. Okay, this is some personal things from me which I'm sharing with you today. Okay. I'm so happy to have been with all of you. I love you all in Preeminent, okay? And I will do, let's do a lot more training and whatnot and sharing, so that all of you will be ready when things return to normal. In the meantime, keep your health in check, be very holistic, keep the communications going. If there's anything that you need to ask me, you saw my number, feel free to WhatsApp, call me, yeah, okay? If you need to send in cases, very simple, OTP, IC copy, contact number, email address, and then you state the net fee. Done. That's all. Let me know so that we can work together. Okay.